When I look back on my life, it feels almost like a movie. The scenes play out in my memory, the struggles, the sacrifices, and the small victories that eventually built into something bigger. It wasn't always easy. Truth is, most of the time, it was hard. But standing here now, surrounded by comfort and love, I can finally say, every step was worth it. I was born into a family that didn't have much. We lived in a small house with drafty windows, and the roof leaked whenever it rained. Winters were especially tough. I remember sitting near the stove, shivering, trying to keep warm. We didn't have fancy clothes or toys. Most of what I wore came from older siblings or donations from neighbors. My parents worked harder than anyone I knew. My father took whatever job he could find, sometimes construction, sometimes farming, sometimes fixing things for people in town. My mother stretched every dollar like it was magic. She made soups that could feed us for days and found a way to make hand-sewn clothes last through multiple children. But even with all their effort, there were nights we went to bed hungry. As a child, I didn't fully understand why life was so hard. I just knew I wanted something different. As soon as I was old enough, I started working. I mowed lawns, delivered newspapers, and did small chores for neighbors. Every penny I earned went into a jar. I didn't spend it on candy or toys like other kids. Instead, I saved it, thinking maybe one day it would help me build a better life. High school wasn't easy either. I didn't have the newest clothes or the nicest shoes. I felt out of place sometimes, standing next to kids who seemed to have everything handed to them. But instead of feeling sorry for myself, I made a promise. I would work harder, study harder, and never give up. I remember nights staying up late, reading under a dim lamp, trying to keep my eyes open while others were out having fun. I told myself, one day this will pay off. After school, I went straight to work. College wasn't an option for me. I couldn't afford it. Instead, I learned through experience. I took on tough jobs, long hours, little pay, sometimes dangerous conditions. But every paycheck meant progress. I rented small apartments, some so tiny that I could stretch my arms and almost touch both walls. Furniture was secondhand, and meals were simple. I'll never forget eating beans and rice for weeks because it was the only thing I could afford. Still, I didn't quit. I believed in something bigger. Somewhere deep inside me was the conviction that if I kept going, I'd make it. Life began to change, slowly. I met people who believed in me, mentors who taught me skills, and friends who supported me when things were tough. I started to save a little more, invest in myself, and build a foundation. I worked extra shifts, took every opportunity, and refused to waste time. There were setbacks, of course. Times when I lost a job or when bills piled higher than my paycheck. But with every failure, I learned something. With every setback, I grew stronger. And then, almost without realizing it, I started to climb out of the hole I'd been in. My hard work began to show results. Eventually, I was able to buy my first car. It wasn't new or fancy, but it was mine. Then came a modest home, one with no leaking roof and windows that kept out the cold. For the first time, I had stability. I married, and together we built a family. Raising children wasn't easy, especially when money was still tight. But I promised myself my kids would have more than I did. I wanted them to feel safe, to have opportunities, and to believe the world could be kind. Through every sacrifice, through every long day and sleepless night, I held on to that vision. And now, here I am. I wake up in a warm home, with food in the kitchen and love all around me. I sit in a comfortable chair, watch the sun rise, and think, how far I've come. It's not about riches or luxury. I don't need a mansion or a fancy car. What I have is peace. I have family who love me, friends who care, and the knowledge that I worked for everything I have. That, to me, is wealth beyond measure. Sometimes, when I sit at the dinner table surrounded by laughter, I remember those cold nights as a child, when food was scarce and the future uncertain. And in those moments, I feel an overwhelming gratitude. Looking back, I realized the struggles weren't just obstacles. They were lessons. They taught me resilience, humility, and appreciation. If I had been given everything easily, I might never have learned the value of hard work or the sweetness of true success. To anyone who has walked a hard road, I say this: your story isn't over. Pain doesn't last forever. With determination, patience, and faith, life can turn around. Now that I'm older, I don't measure success in money or possessions. I measure it in moments: the sound of my grandchildren laughing, the warmth of my spouse's hand, the comfort of knowing I gave life my all. Yes, the road was hard. Yes, there were times I wanted to give up. But today, I can say with pride, I endured, I persevered, and I made it through. And if my story tells you anything, let it be this: no matter how dark the beginning, there's always a brighter ending waiting for those who keep going.